mixed media. I guess what would you call it? Just having fun, breaking a page and playing with all the things. So, hello, hello. Very happy to have you guys joining me live, or if you're watching after the fact, hello in Tomorrowland and hello in Todayland. So, happy Friday. Um, Excited. Have lots of color on my body. Gonna put lots of color on my page. I did wake. The cat woke me up this morning at 5:30, and I came down here and played. So I'm gonna show you what I turned my zombie parrot into, because it went through that zombie parrot went through a lot of different lives. It went through a lot of lives. Hello, friends. Hi, Carissa. How are you? Hi, Mary Pat. Hello, Beth, Irma, Julie. How are you guys doing? Very excited to have you joining me live and hoping you'll play. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Kari. Play along with me tonight. I have plans. And tonight is the focus is using tools to create quick backgrounds. So I have plans for 6 pages. Will we get all 6 done? I don't know. Some I might just do on my own, but you need tonight a brayer if you have one, a palette knife, an art wedge, or you could use an old gift card. But we're going to just use non conventional tools to create backgrounds. Probably you need paintbrush and stuff too. I'm going to use lots of different things. We could use distress ink tonight if you want. We could do some distress ink. We're going to do watercolor. I'm going to do acrylic, even though sometimes I find on a smaller scale like this, it's a little bit of the bane of my existence. But very excited that you guys are here all over. I love this. So from Florida, but in Vancouver, that's exciting. You're in my country. Hello, Natalie. Tool time wasn't that yeah, tool time. Tim Allen, right? So I love it. So tonight is art tools, and I have lots of different ideas and things that we're gonna do. I'm gonna do a flip through of where I'm at. I'm excited because I know some of you guys have just started swatching, and that's awesome. So I look at how many views the videos have had, and some people got stuck at swatching and they haven't joined us for the rest. And I feel like it's okay. You can do the things. It's really fun. Like, look at you, watch me make a hot mess live on Wednesday. And I stuck with it, right? I stuck with it because that's what creating's all about, and actually the challenge. And at the end of the day, if I don't like it, I throw it away. Totally okay with that, right? Welcome to Vancouver. I love it, Carmen. So hello, Carolyn. How are you? Um, so I'm ready. I'm gonna flip the camera because we have a lot to do. Are there any questions before we get started? And if you're new here, hello, welcome. I'm Vicky Booten. So right at the beginning, do not forget to save this to your playlist because I've been getting emails where people can't find the videos. So it's, I think, super beneficial to start a playlist where you can put all of your favorite live videos or YouTube videos for art into a little folder on here on YouTube. If you go hover over the 3 dots beside share, you will see save, and you can start a playlist. And I really think that that is worthwhile when you want to find something, because if you're like me, you go down the creative wormhole, right? I get on YouTube and I might go on to figure out how to unclog a clogged drain, and then the next thing I'm like decorating for Christmas in July. So I think it is a real thing here on YouTube. There's just so much information and stuff that you can search and find that it is sometimes hard to find what you like something along the line and you didn't save it. So I think that's helpful to save. Also, please thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done that. Hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to flip the camera and we're going to get right into it, because then I can sit down, I can see your questions. I love doing this live because we get lots of chatter, which all I've been doing is working this week, so it's very exciting to get to spend time with you guys on a Friday night, so, or Wednesday, or whatever day we're doing it. So I have to Blair Witch you for a second. So boop. So guys who've been here for a while, do you notice a difference in the audio now? Because a lot of times, right, when I would sit down the volume would change. So I'm hoping that you find it better. Boop. There we go. So I don't want to hang up on you. So give me a second. I got to put it back in. There we go. And adjust again. My MacGyvered mic stand. And let me just look and make sure it's all good. And a little twist. See if I'm twisting it correctly to straighten that out. And then we're good to go. So the volume is consistent. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Perfection. So I kind of made my list. So I might follow this, and we might, all I do is work. Yeah, that's all I do is work too, Natalie. That's what I said, because I have been in my shop trying to get all of the bundles and everything ready, and I look at it and go, I so wish I was bewitched and I could just wiggle my nose and have it all ready, because sometimes big tasks are incredibly overwhelming, especially when you're working on 20 things at the same time. So we wrapped up my Christmas collection with 49 and Market this week, and we are rolling into the September release immediately. So it's been fun. It's been fun, right? The work is constant. And I'm going to tell you something too, is the Christmas collection is stunningly beautiful. I think you guys are going to be so excited for that one. So it's good. It's good. So now tonight, what is really magical for me is, and I don't know if you guys feel the same, especially if you've been playing along, is this is all for me. Like, you guys are here and I'm doing it with you guys, but getting a chance to sit and make it's good for, like I told you, my mind, body, and spirit. Let me just move my one water over here. Any questions before we get started? Have you guys been playing along? Have you struggled with anything, or had any really fun artistic discoveries or creative discoveries as you're playing? As I'm going to I show and tell as we talk. So you guys have seen. I did add some other things, right? That I didn't show you. So I started playing a little bit. And like I said, some things I love, some things I'm like, meh, it's okay. I love this one, which is all done with Distress ink, which if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I love Ranger Tim Holtz Distress. I love it, right? I had a question, the two new lines. Ask the question, Marlene. This is a perfect time. Look at the questions or the comments are coming fast and furious. So just put it up there with question in caps so I don't miss it. So we can talk about the scrapbooking side of my life. My new collection with 49 and Market will be out in April. It will debut when I'm at NAMTA, which is the trade show. I will do a live video from the trade show, so be ready for that. It's going to be fun. And my new release with American Crafts, you guys know if you followed along this one. So we never knew if it was, we put all this work into it. Melissa and I put all this work into this cut and paste. So it was supposed to arrive in their warehouse in February, but then the company, or that portion of the company, has been sold. So now we're just waiting. I'm just waiting. So I believe it's going to be, I was supposed to be using it at Scrapfest. I had to make alternate arrangements, and I did a whole different class because I don't have any of the product yet. So cut and paste is supposed to be moving forward. So with that being said, my plan is it coming? I think they say yes, but I have, what do you call it? I have a little bit of creatively in my career with product design. I have a little bit of post-traumatic stress, a little bit, with getting product in a timely manner. And I feel like right now, 85% positive that it is coming. but I now believe, I won't believe it until it's in my hands. That's kind of how I feel with anything now. I just feel like, my experience has been in the last few years. There's so many stories that could be told. Maybe one day I will share the stories, but at this point, it's not available to order yet. But once it is, I will be putting a pre-order up. I will be doing, remember, we're going to do a class with that one, but it's going to be something different. We're going to do layouts and some kind of tag book with that. The product is beautiful. I have it here. I have it here. I haven't done a walkthrough of it until I make sure all the SKUs I do have actually are in production and will be available. So when I have more information, I guess what I'm trying to say is I will share that. The 49 in market, I have all of it. It is definitely available. It will start, like I said, shipping in April after the trade show, and I will be doing a weekend event with that. Wait till you see. The album is stunning. There are die cuts, laser die cuts in the album. It's very beautiful. It's going to be very, very pretty. And as soon as I can share peeks, I will, right? And Natalie does have all of it because she's making some samples for me for the trade show. So do you love it, Nat? Do you love it? I really feel like everybody on the design team at 49 and Market who has received samples of the new collection that's coming out have been over the moon. So it's going to be, right, my baby, and presenting this whole new baby with my new creative husband. Right? It's because I have my American Crafts last one's coming out, and that one is at the end of the relationship, just trying to figure that one out, and then the new one that's coming out with my new relationship, right? So yeah, it's a mature baby. It's a very handsome baby, I'd say, right? So any questions about any of that stuff? So yes, like always, please support your independence purchasing that stuff. I will only be doing it in class form. That's the only, there won't be any open stock for sale. It's just going to be in class form. I'll be kitting that and doing some really awesome, what is the color of the new collection? It is very floral, the new one. So it is in that color palette, but it is not like a neon bright. It's bright, vibrant, but I don't know. You'll just have to wait and see. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So and then you've seen, if you can go out and search cut and paste. But tonight, if we have time, I'll pull some of the pieces of cut and paste so you can see it. It's very pretty. It's very pretty. Will you have 49 in market? We'll be at Scrap Fest. So at Scrap Fest, if you're in my classes, the album we're doing is a 49 in market with my new collection. And then the layouts we're doing is a combination of 49 in market products. So some of my new collection will be in there, and some from Katie Petit. So it is very beautiful. I'm using the charcoal line. So it's like a lot of black in color. It's very pretty. So it's very pretty. So we had to change it because I'm like, look at, if I would have waited for the American Craft stuff, we wouldn't have even had products. So I did a pivot, as I'm very good at doing nowadays. I pivoted it, and it's going to be fun. So if you're joining me at Scrap Fest, I did 5 double page layouts. So they're done on the other side of the table. I actually have to write instructions, right? Okay, let's do the thing. So like I said, this one I did all with Distress ink. So I used my ink blending tool and blended it. This here, I just added water and let it run through. And I love this page. I love how subtly beautiful it is, right? The Distress ink really is magic, right? And then you guys saw this was the first one that we did, right? With the abstract. I have a space here that I'm going to fill. I'm slowly working on it because look at this. This was the first that I just kind of practiced. I did this morning. So it is very subtle, just with some art marks. All of it was with watercolor and a pen. This is one of those ones, I don't love it. I like it. I don't love it, but it was fun. I found it very relaxing. Rich came down this morning and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, just making some art because Simon got me up at 5:30 and I can't go back to sleep. So I came down and played in my journal. And this is why I love the whole concept, right? You love this, like that 10 out of 10 for me. I love this one, like for 10 out of 10 in the sense, not 10 out of 10, like I'm awesome. I mean, 10 out of 10, it brings me joy. Like it is a 10 for the, on the joy meter. The athlete's upstairs. He's not playing tennis on Fridays anymore. He switched it to Monday, don't you know? But I did this and I love it. Just with, little art marks with watercolor, and I just use I clean my palettes, but just the dirty watercolor on my palettes, and I love that. I think it's a great exercise just for brush control, water control with your pigment. So just repeated, but it filled my page and it's part of my lines, right? And then, do you remember this started out as watercolor circles, and then it morphed into a lot of things because I did not like it. So to get it back to a point where I liked it, this is now watercolor, acrylic paint with a dry brush, and then I put my stencil on here and pounced white acrylic paint in the middle because I hated everything I had done. And I don't quit, right? I don't quit. I just kept layering. And then now I'm very happy with how these little subtle, like what do you call it, like donuts or the rings that you float in the pool. So that's another way to get it back, is to put white paint on top. So I love that. I love how it turned out now. I did not do anything with this page because I love this, and I really think it's the fluorescent pink. But this was done on Wednesday. Wednesday night was the focus, so this is 2 days ago if you go back in my live videos. This was done with a blending tool, like a domed foam blending tool, and acrylic paint. And then we just pounced it. And I love how this turned out. So I left it. I did this, and I love this. So I went in with very loose brush strokes and my dirty watercolor palette. So I use the same palette. I did not switch any colors up. And then I went and just did some watercolor rings and let the pigment blend in and bleed into each other. And then you have some pretty wicking. And then I went in and look at the little art marks. I kind of really love the subtle beauty of this page. And it was just, I just sat and I didn't get any other paint out. I just used what was already there. So I really love that one. And then this one was, again, the dirty palette. I just did the water rings because this is what I wanted this one to look like, and it didn't turn out the way I wanted to, so I just did this. Question: how do you get the loose brush strokes? I roll my brush. Raquel. I went in there, and with I did use a number 8 or a number 10 round brush, and then I just loaded it up. It was very diluted. It wasn't fresh paint. It was whatever was in the watercolor. And I just went in like this. Like so, you're hardly even holding the brush. Just like this. Loose circles. So don't hold it like you mean it with intention, because it's really hard to get that kind of looseness. So just very loose like this. And then went down, did the next color, skippity boos. Like lift the brush so not everything touches. White space is your friend. This is something really, I think, a big thing to learn is you don't cover everything, because some of the interest is definitely in the white space. So this all came out. I loved it. And then I went, I don't want to art mark in the watercolor because I really love how it turned out. So I just went in and did dash marks with my micron. Yes, white space. So Connie, if you're going to play along with me tonight, I'm going to challenge you to stop. Don't add too much. Don't overwork especially tonight. Tonight is really going to stretch you because it is, you can't do much because you're working on such a small surface that you kind of have to just brayer a couple strokes and then leave it. So just kind of keep that in mind, and you want the white space. Just know that when you're looking, you have to look, there's opportunity, right? And you are probably looking at the first layer of paint you put down is you're thinking finished product, but it isn't the finished product. It's nowhere close. It's the first layer. So that is something I challenge you guys to do. And the other thing I challenge you, remember this, it's a challenge for some of you want to put stamps and stickers and all the things on it, but I really feel I want to too. If you've noticed, I have not really pulled the stencils out. I haven't pulled any of the other things out because I want you to do a couple of these things repeated. So one of them should just kind of be the virgin technique where you aren't really doing anything with it. You're okay with it to be an exercise. And then one of the other ones that you do, then you can add all of the things. But I really feel like there is a benefit to just having a very simple exercise. So you can come back and refer to it. Don't put all the layers on everything, right? Or if you want to, I'm not the boss of you. You do whatever you want, right? So look at this one. I did not touch again. I freaking love this. I love this page. I hated it while I was making it. But then I really love how it turned out. I really love how it turned out. All watercolor. All of it is in watercolor. There is no pen in this. All the layers and everything was done in watercolor. This one I made this morning when the cat woke me up. So this one, can you see the background? I did take a picture of it, so I'll share what it started as. It again was, I only used the paint and my mister. I did not even have water in a cup, and I just misted all the dirty watercolor. When you look on Wednesday night, all the dirty watercolor is what the background was. So I just went in and did lines, all lines in the background of watercolor. And then I went and did the circle technique, similar to this, with acrylic paint and a dry brush, right? Acrylic paint and a dry brush. And then I filled in all the spaces. So there is heavier paint and lighter paint. So it's watercolor in the background, acrylic on top. And then I went in with a very dry brush with white to add some of those brush marks. And then I just scribbled fake writing. I love this page. I love it, right? And it was just literally using all the dirty stuff that was on my palette. Now, are you ready for the zombie parrot eye? I covered most of it and then just did circles, and now I like this much more. I worked on this page so much and I just kept hating it. I hated it. They look like Easter eggs because I was trying to do circles, but on a rectangle is very hard to put 4 circles, right? I would have to cover way too much of the work up to make it fit. So now they're kind of ovals. And do I love this page? No, but I don't hate it as much as I did. But I feel like it deserves its place, right? I feel like it deserves its place. So what I went in and I did a whole bunch of art marks with watercolor or watered down acrylic. And then I went in and I drew circles. And then I painted all the background with turquoise acrylic. And then I dry brushed white acrylic on top of it, let it dry, and then did the scribbles. So like I said, this is not, I wouldn't say it's definitely not my favorite, but I like it better than I did. And like I said, it deserves its place because that's what this is all about, learning, right? When you flip through, some things you'll love and some things you won't, and that's totally okay. Zombie, parrot eye to Easter eggs, right? So what are your thoughts? Any questions about any of them? Somebody had asked something and I missed it. Some of these I love so much though, and that's really fun. Some of these I love so much. And some of them I like, and some of them are like, meh, it's okay. But that's all right. And I love that I'm doing it live with you guys. Like I was going to come down and practice some of this stuff. But then I went, no, the whole purpose of this is not having planned results. It's just, I want you to see it live. So you feel the same as I do when you're making, right? Will you show the dry brush technique? Probably not tonight, but at the end I can. Uh, I'll tell you what it is, Susan. This is the biggest thing when you want kind of a whitewash, is the turquoise had to dry. The turquoise had to dry completely. And then I went in with a dry, very dry brush, meaning there's no water added to my paintbrush, and I just started brushing the white on. I let it set up a little bit. It has to start to dry, and then I took a slightly damp paper towel and I started to buff it off. If your paper towel is too wet, you'll remove all the paint. But this is like almost, there's so many layers of freaking paint on this, but that is the whole thing, right? I'm getting confused by the reference to watercolor. I never know if you're referring to actual watercolor paints, or I'm not sure, Kelly, because watercolor paints are the paints I've been using the whole time. When I reference watercolor, it means I've used this. If I reference acrylic, it means I use this. This is all the tools that I started are the only tools I've used. I haven't switched. I'm not using pans. I'm using all liquid watercolor. So hopefully that clarifies. I never know if you're referring to actual watercolor paint. What other watercolor would I be referring to? I'm not being sarcastic or facetious. Just help me help you, or help me understand. What other watercolor, because there's watercolor it can come in a pan, right, where it's dry. It can be watercolor where it comes in a tube, but I let it sit and dry, right? But you've never seen watercolor in tubes. Yeah, even the pans, like even if you buy a $120 Daniel Smith paint palette, it came from a tube. But here's the magic with watercolor is, unlike acrylic, which once it dries, because it's like a plastic, once it dries, you can't reconstitute it. When this sits, like I'll show you right now. See that little bit of paint right there? That's watercolor paint out of the tube. It's actually this color. If I put water on this, even though it's dry on here, look what happens. That's what makes it. Watercolor is transparent, and it can be reconstituted. So I still see that little dry bit is watercolor. So watercolor could come in a crayon. I can make watercolor out of distress ink. I guess for me, watercolor is something that isn't as permanent. Like if I put water on top of it, I can always move the paint again. Is that helpful at all? My art crayons can make watercolor. So to me, is watercolor water soluble? It's not permanent. It is transparent. Where acrylic will set. Like if I rub on this, I can't lift that paint. It will set. It will dry because it cures and becomes hard. I hope that's helpful. Right? I hope things that I say, something connects, right? So hopefully that was helpful. Yeah, so some people, pencils, yeah, it can be in a hard pencil. It could be in a hard pencil, but it needs water to activate it. So hopefully that helped, Kelly. But yeah, and I hope you'll talk to me, because I love to understand. So when it clicks in your brain, where when I say watercolor, if it's not, the synapses aren't connecting, is that I understand where the disconnect is. Because that helps, because you probably aren't the only one out there who feels the same. So it helps me to describe it better. Now, I cleaned up. Oh, here it is. I couldn't find any of my stuff. So tonight, tools. I have my stack of paper. I'll decide what I'm using. I have this brayer, which is very large for a background that is only 7 by 9.5. So I grabbed a smaller brayer so I don't cover my whole background. Now, you can use the brayer and not cover the whole thing in paint, right? So hopefully that question. When you say your crayons are watercolor, I would put down the crayon and add water. Yeah, you can. And there are a ton of videos, Sarah, on Vicki Boutin art crayons. And it's the same. There are tons, like Gelato is like a water soluble crayon. Tim Holtz distress crayons are water soluble. Dina Wakely's. Uh, uh, what else? What's the other one? I'm forgetting. There's a whole aqua color. So you could use it as like an oil pastel, or you could totally scribble on your mat, add water, and you could use it as watercolor. Because people in this whole session are using all different types of things, because I really wanted you to not have to shop. So whatever you can use that you could use, look at, I could put a distress ink pad down like this, add water, and it's watercolor, right? It's watercolor. You won't have maybe the pigment load that you would, but look at, I can totally paint with that. Boop. It's watercolor. So if you're watching and you're like, I'm not playing along because I didn't have these tubes that Vicki has, you can use this. Faber-Castell, yeah, tons of different things, right? Tons of different things. So, yep. Hopefully that helps. Ask the questions. It's what I'm doing this for, right? It's what I'm doing this for. So if it encourages you guys to make things, then I'm winning, right? So brayer, we're going to use brayer. So palette knife, you have lots of different, you can buy a whole bunch of different silicone paintbrushes that you can use with acrylics. You can use these with watercolors. You just won't get brush strokes, right? We can do drag techniques. So I have this one. This one is from Nuvo, but there are artist ones that you can get. I think Dina Wakely had a set as well, but all of these came, there's an original one that is in art stores. So if you go on and look for, what did I just say? Because I lost it. I just said it. What these are made out of. And now I had a total brain fart. Did you guys hear me? What did I say? Because I said it, now I forgot what they're called. Silicone. Yes, silicone brushes. So you can get different ones. This one is supposed to be similar to that, the Vicki Boutin one. I have no clue what it's made out of because I could never get those answers from American Crafts. But it is great. It's just not as soft. It's softer, but it's not as flexible as the silicone brushes. So definitely worth getting a set of these. And if you go on Dick Blick or any of those places, they're fun. It's a fun thing. Is it something you have to have? Absolutely not. But if you enjoy some of the stuff we're doing, that's what this is. And then I grabbed a couple different paint palette knives. If you don't have any of these things and you have an old gift card, that's perfect. Use that. If you have a piece of hard cardboard, you could use that too. A lot of the techniques that we're going to do tonight, so I kind of planned out. We're going to do a pulling technique, and I'm going to use a fluorescent pink, and that's all I'm going to use. I'm just going to do some dragging technique. Probably will use my art wedge for this one. I'm going to do drag and twist, which is probably going to be my art wedge again, and I'm just going to do a very loose paint application with acrylic. And this is similar. I did stuff like this, the drag technique, a couple weeks ago before I started this series. I'm going to do with watercolor, and we're just going to pull it with palette knife. We're going to do a wet technique where we float water, and then we're going to, we could use the edge of the art wedge and kind of pull that. So we're going to do some lines. We are going to do palette knife drag just to make lines. And then I think I'll do like an animal print or something on that. And then this one is a very kind of a loose background that we're just going to do all different little lines and drags. It's all going to be very fast. What type of paper will be the best for tonight? Well, watercolor, I'll use watercolor paper. You could use your mixed media paper or foundations paper. But for most of, you know what, to make this interesting, see this H2O one? I'm going to do this in Distress ink. We're going to do that in Distress ink. So I'm going to use everything tonight. I'm going to use all the things. So let's pull the paper. So I have 6. So I'm going to do at least 4 papers because I can do front and back for some of these, just not the acrylic. Although there's a plus with this. It's going to dry faster because we're not using hardly any paint. You need, is your brayer, all of my brayers are rubber. All rubber brayers. I don't use the like hard brayer, the ink one. I like the bounciness of the rubber. I do like brayers that are very stable, because some of them, if you have the ones that you can unhook it from the metal, the little metal bars, they're a little bouncier, so sometimes a little harder to control. Most of my brayers are, because you know I love to do gel print and mono printing, so I have probably like 10 brayers, different sizes. So, but yes, these ones are rubber. They're soft. Okay, well, softer. So let's grab our papers. I definitely don't want small tonight. I'm going to use bigger. So I have my watercolor. So at least one sheet of watercolor. I'm going to use at least one sheet of watercolor front and back. And then I think the rest are going to be foundations. Because we have different, right? This is a better quality watercolor. I have some foundations, and then I have some of the art mediums. So I'm just going to grab some papers, right? You decided to play along. I love it, Susan. Which is Tim Holtz? Which is Tim Holtz, Tony? None of my papers are Tim Holtz, if you're asking about the paper. None of these are Tim Holtz. I'll tell you, this is my Tim Holtz brayer. I think I have one over here. No. I don't have my Tim Holtz brayer. My Tim Holtz brayer is bouncy. So, it's not my favorite. And the only way you guys would know is if you've used different brayers. Like this one is, I don't even know what I got this one from. You want to make sure it rolls smoothly. But do you see how it's very stable? It's very stable. This one I ordered, I think I ordered a set on Amazon because I have one that's like this big. So this set, it was very inexpensive, and I think I got 3 or 4 sets that I love with my gel plate, because now I can just put little strips of paint on, right? And tonight this will work well because it's small and I'm not going to cover everything. But the brayers that are that style, that are in the wire, like when we were working on one, well, I think in my the Voldemort of Vicky Boutin products in the gel plate kit, the brayer is like this. They're just, it's my favorite. I like ones that you have more control over. You're having a sangria and cereal kind of night. I love that. Sangria and cereal. Okay. Any other questions? Are we ready to get started? No, this is not Tim Holtz. See the metal? His is wire. I don't think I have one out here, right? Nope. They're around. I do own them because I buy all of the things, but I don't have as much control with it. I don't like bouncy brayers, so it doesn't mean it's preference, right? There's nothing wrong with it. It just is preference. Okay, let's do the things. Did I miss any questions? I'm using an art journal book, which I love that. Use the art journal book. That's totally fine. I just went because I couldn't find exactly what I wanted, and I wanted to use different papers, right? Okay. So we are going to do, I have one sheet of watercolor, and I have 4 sheets of my foundations paper, which is like a Bristol. It's a smooth, or you could use hot press watercolor paper. You just want something that has some weight to it and has a smooth finish. And then my watercolor paper has texture. It is 25% cotton, so it really holds the water color paints well, and we'll do fun techniques on here with the texture. Okay. What are we going to start with? I feel like let's start with our Distress inks. I am not going to mask this one. My holes haven't been punched either, but I am going to tack it down just so it doesn't move when we're brayering. So I would say that that is helpful, is that you want to tack it down. And you could use, I just have painter's tape here, but you can definitely use your mint tape, whatever you're using. Okay. So let's go in and do something super simple. I'm going to move it over so I can put my ink on here. So we could do a few things with this. You could use, I'm going to use my picked raspberry, my mustard seed, my spice marmalade, and some prize ribbon. Natalie drinks coffee any time of the day. She loves it. So you could brayer right in your on your pad and brayer it down. It will give you more pigment. It will be much brighter. Or you could put it down, make watercolor, and brayer that on. That's what I'm going to choose to do. Okay. I am going to put it on my mat like this. I'm going to add water. I'm going to mist just because it's here, but you could just use your paintbrush. Add water. And I am going to load up, kind of skip my brayer through that pigment. And I'm just going to do a little skippity-boo. I'm not going to clean this up because when that dries, I can add some more. But talk about a quick background, right? Easy cleanup because it's Distress ink. Now I'm going to layer some of the spiced marmalade. Let's try this brayering in directly in the ink. I want to see, can I pick enough up? Let's see. Oh, look at that. I didn't even add water. So if you want a little bit more control, there we go. Look at that. If I put a little water on here. Oh, look at that. And I am overlapping those colors. Very fun. We'll let that dry and I can come in again. But let's try that too with, I'm going to wipe that up. And I'm going to put the ink down without water. I want to see if I can get a layer on top of that. Let's see, is it wet enough? Oh, yep, it's very subtle, but I'm adding a little bit of almost texture on top. I love it. I'll show you when I hold it closer, but it is only picking a little bit of the ink up. Second time, what else were you watching where they used a brayer? I use a brayer a lot. I do a lot of different techniques. When I was sitting down there making my list, I'm like, okay, you got to hold some of it back, Vicki, because you can't do everything, because then I'm going to put some more of that wet on top. You can't do everything because then there's nothing left and you're going to run out of time, girlfriend. That's what I had to say to myself. Come on, girlfriend. Don't get too crazy. So now I'm going to go in with, what am I using? Mustard seed, fossilized amber. So let's roll it right on the pad to show you that option, right? I could pick my pigment up right off the pad. I would think when you do this, because it's direct to the ink, that it will be darker. So I got some like little skippity bops on there, and the pigment's darker. We'll do it with the spiced marmalade after as well. Let's see, adding a little bit of water on there gives me a little bit more of that kind of watercolor effect. See, Connie, I stopped because I like what happened there, so I'm just leaving it alone. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to go back directly on the orange. I want to see, because these colors look very close. So what happens if I go directly on my pad and I add some of the spice marmalade over top? Will I get, ooh, a little bit more? I am getting a little bit more orange on there. You know, it's funny though. It feels like the middle of the brayer isn't really picking up a lot of pigment. Yes, and Amazon. Rebecca, I bought a whole set because don't forget, one of the classes I'm going to be doing this year is gel plate printing. Again, we're going to get back into that. And you need the brayers. You really do. You need multiple brayers. Like, brayer is one of those tools that I feel like you need a couple. You need a couple. So with the blue, which is prize ribbon, I'm going to add a little bit of water. So that is definitely going to have to be layered on, right? To give me some depth. Do you see how, look it, and then no, sometimes just stop pulling it because that really looks pretty. I need some water in this. I don't really love that one. Well, and when you're doing gel plate printing, you need multiples because you're working on a lot of different things often, that I feel like it's helpful. So if this was going to be for a scrapbooking page or a card, the next step that I would do is I'd stencil on top of it, even in the same colors. We could do it tonight, right? I'm trying to be a purist, but would you like me to show you what I'm talking about? Yes, I have to add a little bit more water in there. I feel like it needed that. That orange just reacted completely different than anything else. Love it. So I'm going to dry this. Hi, Karen. I'm going to pick this up. But I want one more layer of the blue, and I'm actually going to go in. Let's try this too. Because do all the things, right? So what about this? What happens if I pick up tons of pigment, but I missed the brayer now? Let's see, what are we going to get? Ooh, look at all that pigment deposit. I love it. Love that. So now I'll give it a blast of heat. Now, who's using oxide out there instead of distress? Who's using the oxide ink? Because remember, it doesn't have the same translucency. It is a little bit more opaque, so you might get a whole different result. You will be. Yeah. So make sure you... Oops, look what I just did. Dragged my finger through that, but we're going to stencil on top. So it wasn't dry, Vicky. And then I was putting my finger in it like it was. Okay. So I could go in here now, and I'm going to use one stencil. One stencil to do all of the things. So it needs to, oh, let's do this. Look at that one. Now look at, and I'm going to go tone on tone. So I'm going to pick up raspberry. Oh, that one is definitely oxide. That one is not. Do not contaminate your blending tool. So I want to tape this down so it doesn't move, because I'm going to add, I'm not going to lift it. I'm going to add all the colors. So if you were Vicky's tape, where would you be? Thank you, Vicky. Because what I love now is this is like the fastest background ever. I am not going to ink everything. I'm just going to do some down the side. So I'm going to go in with picked raspberry, and I'm going to lightly start creating a pattern, and I'm going to go into the spiced marmalade a little bit too. Because right, we start to make kind of a salmon-y color there. There we go. Do I have a blending tool for orange? I will find one. So I will show you the reveal when we're done. So I'm doing tone on tone. I am layering the same colors on top of where it was brayered. So I'm going to go in next with some of the there's some little spots in the stencil, so I want to make sure I'm getting in there, and I'll go down a little bit into the fossilized amber too. Okay, I'm peeking. I'm not showing you guys though. Oh, it's so pretty. Wait to see. You will love this one. You guys are going to be excited over this one because you will see, you actually get to see something other than just the basics. I'm going to go over the orange again with the pink just to create that salmon a bit. I like to, when I'm trying to make new colors with the distress, is layer two colors, right? I'll put the pink down, the orange, and then go back to the pink. And then sometimes even go back to the orange. Next is fossilized amber. And sometimes the lighter colors you have to add a little bit more. We got a really pretty green here. And let's go in now with prize ribbon. Do not use very much pigment here because it's the darker ones, like the reds and such, will really take it over, right? But I want to make that green. So we'll deposit that blue. I think my prize ribbon is a little dry though, to be honest with you. There, go back over, but you got to watch because when you put the blue and the yellow, these distress inks, one of the magics thing about it is they stay open, right? They're wet for a while, so I have to watch because I'm going to pick up blue when I go over that to make that green area. So I will see how it's green on here now. So I will just make sure if I want to use that in yellow again, that I'm going to take all that off. Because if I want to use this on another page and I wanted a nice fossilized amber and I had the dirty blending tool, I would put green down instead of the yellow. You ready for the reveal? Any questions? Question. So it's leaving the flower print. So this one is leaving the negative, right? The positive is the floral print. So I'm actually filling all the space around the daisies on this one. So when you see this, the lighter area is going to be where the flower is. The darker area is going to be the area around it. Here we go. Look how pretty that is. And I went for very subtle, right? I didn't want to cover all of it. So look how pretty. So the lighter area was the original layer, right? And then the darker area is where the ink was deposited. And the next thing that we could do, because the magic of distress, right, is I could go in and do a little watermarking. Which I think is pretty. Now, you'll get more impact where you deposited the stencil. This you won't get as much of that because we put it on wet. So I'm going to take a dry paper towel and I'm going to lift, don't rub, lift those watermarks. Might be very subtle. Pretty. See? Pretty. Could you make it more impactful? You sure could. Like, I might put that stencil back on and lay a little bit more of the prize ribbon, because I can't see very much flower on the bottom. I love this. Like, this brings me joy. And how long did that take? So if you are like, mixed media scares you, you can do things very quickly. And you are a complete artist because you had control over a brayer, more control than you would with a paintbrush, right? You're putting a large deposit of color down, and pretty easy. So I'm going to put this back on, and I'm going to just put a little bit more. And here's the other magic with distress ink. Like, look at, I can lay my stencil down and do it again. And then try to find where you put your tape, because I don't want it to move. And I'll show you what I mean. It just didn't show very much pattern down here, so I'm going to deposit a little bit more. Oops. And I just put it in oxide. Let's see what we get. I think I have to load that again, though. And this is one of my stencils. So all of these I've hand drawn, and they're only available on VickyBooten.com. This is not one through American Crafts. This was one that I've just done on my own. So if you're like, where can I get this? That's the only place that I sell these. Let's see. Boop. Press in some of the color in because some of the spaces are small. There we go. I love it. It almost looks like denim. You know what this reminds me of? Like bleach printing. Doesn't it kind of look like bleach? Let's call this technique when you use a stencil that is the positive. So where you're adding pigment is to the negative, the open spaces. It looks like a bleach print. Simple techniques with wow results, right? I love it. Hi, Janine. And I saw Sarah here as well. Hello. So very quick, right? Love that. Don't need to mess around with it. I think that is just fine the way it is. So trying not to rip. Oh, remember the trick? This is one of the new ones. Yes. This is one of the new ones. It's called Daisy Chain, I believe. I only name the stuff that is, Janine will tell you. Hello, Greta Hammond. Janine will tell you, the bane of my existence is having to name product. Freaking sometimes it's like, okay, that's awesome. I love it. Now, what do you want to name it? I'm like, I don't want to name it. Right? I don't want to name it. Can we name it number 2? Because now you have to think of how many years, how many papers that I had to name. Well, the plus with Janine, they're very excited over our release. They were trying to talk me into telling them all about it and showing them the things. And I said, see, she was watching. I would have gotten in trouble, guys. My boss is here. So I love that. Very subtle, very pretty. I'm going to tell you, when I run my hand over it, it feels textured because when I'm putting the brayer over, it's lifting the pockets. Like paper is pressed fibers, right? So I love, there's a texture on this paper, but I didn't pill it or tear it because the friction was just in one, like back and forth in the same direction. I wasn't lifting the paper off. How exciting. The 49 and Market design team is loving it. Nothing but rave reviews. Can't wait to share with everyone. See? It's exactly what I said. That is what I said. So we are on the same page. Okay, so I'm going to flip it and work on the back side. So what are we going to do now for B side? So that was depositing with a brayer, quick background, dry, wet. I showed you 3 different ways. Could you have done that with watercolor? Could you have done it with acrylic? Yes. And I'm going to show you some different things. So if we stick with brayer, what else was I going to do with brayer? Not much with brayer. I think because you could do like you get with a brayer, right? I'm going to do one with acrylic where we use a brayer and palette knife. Want to do that one next? Let's do that one next. Do you like how I ask you and then I just do what I want anyway? So let's do brayer now with acrylic. I'm going to tack it down again. I'm not creating a frame with my tape. I'm not masking it. This can be wild and free. We're wild and free tonight. What kind of sneak peek could I give them, Janine? I don't know. See, when Janine hasn't been looking, I've showed you guys along the way in some of my classes. I've showed you like an element. But I'm going to keep it. Like I have a whole album finished right across from me. Your dog ate your brayer, I bet. Do you know that Simon loves these? My cat, when we're not looking, because I usually shut the door so he can't get in here, I will have all of my ink blending tools are missing. He loves to bat these around. So he gets up. I've had paw prints across wet paint. And this will be missing. And I think he drinks my paint water too. I think he drinks the paint water too. So I'm not surprised the dog ate your brayer. Hi, Deborah. How are you? So let's do this one. This one's going to be fun because I think let's do a little animal print on here. So I'm going to brayer and then I'm going to drag with my palette knife. And I am going to do, I think, a green color. I'm going to do a pink, but I'm going to add some white so we can lighten the pink and maybe some teal. So let's go in and I'm going to brayer the teal and I'm going to brayer the teal. I'm going to brayer the teal. Hello, Dawn. How are you? My cat Daisy drinks the paint water too, if I forget to empty it. Oh my goodness. No wonder my cat is crazy. So here, this is your muy importante golden nugget. Do not add too much paint. This technique is less is more. You can always add, but you can't take away. So if you have way too much paint on your brayer, it's going to cover your whole page. And remember, Connie, we said we want to really work with white space tonight. So one of the ways is less is more. You can always add, but you can't take away. So I am going to put, oh, look at that pretty paint booger. Let's keep that. Put it with my collection of paint boogers. I'm going to do a very thin, I'm going to just do that much. So I'm going to deposit this color kind of right here, okay? Less is more, need white space. You got it, friend. And then look at, if you skippity bop in here, let's start with that. Look at, I don't have much on my brayer. So even if you have a big brayer, only cover like maybe a third of your brayer. Now I'm going to tell you something. This is going to be awkward for me. So you should change the surface you're working on, not your arm. So I know if I put it on an angle, this is much easier, right? So I'm going to start not at the top. I think I'm going to start in the middle because then I can have the majority of the paint in the middle, but I can taper it off top and bottom. Are you ready? Because I didn't practice this. We're just going in and seeing what we get. I love it. See with the skippity bops? So less is more, right, Connie? We can always add, but we can't take away. So now do you see the difference with acrylic? That is very opaque. That's very opaque. But I love this. So I'm going to add some more, but I'm going to move it over an inch and blend it into that so I still can have white space. So let's pick some up again, but I'm putting a little bit more paint on, but it's actually kind of less because I spread it out, okay? Now this would be great if you had a scrap piece of paper, because you could use your scrap where you're braying your paint as a project, like something to do. Oh, look at that. See? Oh my goodness, I love that, but I want a little bit of that there. I love this. That's done. I might add just a little bit more at the top, like this. But look at that, because it's kind of dry brushing with your brayer. Leave it alone. Sarah, white space, not sure about that. That is a true fact, is it not, Sarah? Sarah likes to fill her whole world with color. I am laughing. That was hilarious. But look, I still have lots on there. And here, takeaways. So my takeaway for me is this was full paint. I think next time I would brayer that out, because I like the little skippity bops in here, and this is very solid. That is very solid, right? So that's my feeling on that, is I think I would not do that. I think I want a little bit more, because I want almost a little bit more. Look at that. Oh, I love this. So if Sarah was going to, like, tonight, I'm going to make a scrapbook page, which she could very well. She is a scrapbook. Her and Natalie on my design team make beautiful projects. So if I wanted to do a background and I didn't have the right color cardstock, I wanted to do something mixed media, look how quick you could do a background. And then you could take a stencil, and do you want something cool? Like, I want to show you, but I'm going to ruin everything now, but I'm going to do it anyway. Let's do it maybe with some art marks. Let's just give her. Watch. What can I do it with? Look at, if I wanted to go in here, see where this is dark? So let's find a area. This is something I love to do. So Connie, this is for you. So say you didn't get very much white space on there. Say, Connie, you're like, I did it again. I got overzealous and I didn't leave very much white space. I clean everything, especially when it's acrylic, because otherwise it's Murphy oil soap and soaking. So I know not everybody does. Some people like to just be a true artist and have the mess everywhere. I am crazy. So we're going to go in and we're going to add white space. So because it's acrylic, makeup sponge through a stencil is your friend, because if you use a stencil brush on here, your paint will bleed underneath. You want very little paint. Okay, so let's put a little bit of white. Don't need much. Less is more. You can always add. Makeup sponge. Pick that up and pounce it. You don't want very much paint. This has to be done in layers, okay? So this is for Connie. So say I want to come in here now and I want to add some white space. Why not pull that back through with the stencil? I'm only doing it kind of in that solid area that I deposited. Now the other thing is, it's not very opaque yet, because you have to do this in layers. You put a thin layer down with acrylic, let that dry, put paint on top. If you try to put more paint while it's still wet, you just lift your paint off. Have you ever found that you're like, why can't I build depth? The paint has to get that kind of onion skin on it. It has to start to dry a little bit before you can add your next layer. And I don't like to go in too heavy, because what will happen is it'll bleed under my stencil. So let's get that in there. And I'm okay if part of the layer shows. Totally okay with that, because we're going to do some other stuff on top of here too. Let's see. You ready? Oh, I love it. It looks airbrushed. See that? And how pretty. This could be my background. Do you like that I keep calling your name out, Connie? Because I know you love it. I love when Vicky picks on me. I'm feeling it tonight. I'm really loving that. Very subtle, soft, but that's the key with Imagine on Black. 100%, Natalie. Imagine on Black. How pretty that would be. So Sarah, you know when you're like, white space, what is that? And maybe you're putting all your paint down and you're like, ooh, I wish like I could see a little bit of my yellow or whatever. I could put this down in white and then I could put pigment on top of it. Because it'd be hard if I wanted true yellow on top of that teal. Well, it's probably going to show green, right? If I put a layer of white, which I could do with white paint or gesso with a sponge, and then I could position my stencil again when that paint's dry, and I could deposit yellow, and I'd have a bright yellow polka dot on top of it. See, it was Sarah's turn. I didn't want you to feel, Connie, that I was giving you too much of a hard time. So then it was Sarah's turn. So that was just a teachable moment. It was not what I intended for my art here, but I hope that helps. So I just added white space back in by layering it on top, which you can do with an opaque paint. I couldn't do that with Distress ink, but I most certainly could have done it on top of my Distress if I wanted to do that, but it would be helpful to use the acrylic, or you could use gesso. Okay, so my next layer I want on here, let's do it with my palette knife now. So when I go and put this on, I'm going to drag paint with the edge of the palette knife. So I'm going to put it down on, I don't know, what angle is that? It's not a 45, is it 45? Maybe a 45-degree angle. And then I'm just going to pull some pigment down here and pull some pigment down here. So I want a layer of green. I'm going to pull the green. Let's use all the things. I'm going to do it with my art wedge. So I want to make kind of an emeraldy green. So let's put it, I'm just going to put a little bit of, this one is the Prussian blue. And a little bit of cadmium yellow. And I'm going to mix it with a paintbrush. Ooh, look at that. Delicious. But we need to pull it down, right? Because I need to pick it up. I need to pick it up, hopefully. Oh, I love that. That looks like Follow the Yellow Brick Road. Or the Emerald City, right? Love it. A little bit more yellow. There we go. Okay. So hopefully I can get some off of here. Brush is in the water. Can you get yellow if the blue is dry? Probably, but I find that the yellow, this cadmium yellow, is not super opaque, right? There's a little bit more translucency to it. So I probably would have to layer quite a few layers. And because this is a very dry technique, I think this is the way if I wanted bright yellow on top of that, I would put the white down first. I love how excited you get with these. I do, because it's like, you know, I'm excited because it's working. It's actually turning out. So I'm going to load my art wedge. Let's see what we get now pulling. See that paint? I'm going to pull right here a layer of green. Look at that deliciousness. Look at that. That's all I'm putting on there. I don't want any more on there. Cleaning my art wedge. And now I'm going to put some pink. And then we're going to do some animal print. You're doing neon pink? I love that. So my pink, I'm going to add some white to it. I'm going to add some white to my pink. I want it to be kind of a softer pink tonight. But let's do, I'll do fluorescent with you. So remember, when I'm cleaning up acrylic, I'm not going to go in with a baby wipe. I'm going to scoop as much of it up with my paper towel as I can, like that. I just feel like it's much easier to not reconstitute the paint with water. Get as much of it up off your craft mat. And then it's not as much of a hot mess. Acrylic is more of a hot mess. You get it all over you. Okay, I'm with Beth, and I'm gonna go in with fluorescent because I don't want to be left out. And I'm gonna blend it with some white because I want it to be a little bit softer. So let's see what we get now. What are we gonna get? Oh, look at that, Beth. Look what I got. Look at that. It is Barbie. I am channeling Barbie. This reminds me of Superstar Barbie in that satin pink dress. And she had a necklace, and she had a ring, and she had a necklace and ring. Yep, right? And earrings. They were diamonds. I'm channeling Barbie. And Janine is like, oh my goodness. Janine, I am trying to bring over to the color side with pink. So let's do this. That's a lot of paint on there. It's going to be hard to control, but I'm going to try. So I want a layer of pink on here. So I'm going to think from the top, and then I'm going to flip my page, and I'm going to do it from the bottom. It is bright, and I love it. Let's see. So I can control, oh my goodness, look at that magic. So there's a difference now using the palette knife. I'm going very little strokes. Love that. I love it so much. And let's do some from the bottom up. Oh my goodness. It's freaking awesome. So I'm going to shift it over, and I am going to skippity-boo. So I am not pressing very hard. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. So see, there's a lot of paint on the end of my palette knife. I'm going to wipe it off because I don't like that. So let's wipe it off so I have more control. And remember, what is this, friends? It's a piece of paper in your time. So if the first time you try this, you don't get the results exactly the way you wanted, or it didn't turn out, then just do it again. But don't give up on this one. Remember the zombie parrot eye? I didn't give up on that, and I was not a fan. I just want to layer a little bit more. And leave it alone, Vicky. Look at Connie. Look at my skippity boos. I love that. I'm leaving that alone. I love that. You could make your own art for your house. Now, who out there would never have used that color palette? You're like, I never would have put those colors together. This is my whole thing with this week, or this month, is literally, I have these colors, these 5 colors, well, 6 with the fluorescent, and then the black and white, is I am trying to stretch. What can I make that's different for every page? What is different for every page? Now, I have to let this dry because, and I'm hoping, did I get any paint on the back? It's still clean. Because you can't really use a heat gun on acrylic. It's pretty thin, so let's see. I just want to be able to show you the next step where I'm going to put, are you ready for it? You know what I'm going to put on here? I'm going to put leopard spots. in black and yellow. So my art marking is going to be with black acrylic and a round paintbrush and then yellow centers. So I think because the paint was thin enough, oh, there's some sticky. You can't really heat set acrylic, right? You'll bake it. This is dry. Like this is all dry. It's the pink I went in a little heavier. But I have zero patience. I love how this pops. I love it. You'll see the yellow's just going to be in the center of my what are these things called? My leopard print, my leopard dots. So look at that. I hope that the color translates nicely on here. Yellow scares you, but you get what I'm saying, right? It's only going to be in the middle. So here we go. So I'm doing this still on an angle. I'm going to put some black, ivory black, down. I don't need a lot because I can always put more paint on. I just hate wasting it, right, when you wipe it up. It's going to be so awesome. So now we are going to get a round brush. Oh, it's in the water. Remember for my green? Oh, no. Actually, I'm going to use this one. This is my new favorite. And I forgot, what is this brush called? Somebody out there is going to know. The ones that are rounded at the tip. I forgot what the shape of this is. Remember, we're talking to Vicky. And you know what my brain is like. Remind me. Does it say it on here? Filbert, thank you. I couldn't remember. I love this brush. If you don't have this, you need them. I really do for art marking because you get that rounded edge. It doesn't come to a point. I love this. So when we're going to paint these, for a little spot, we're going to do like a little erp and an erp, and then you yellow in the middle. I might be a liar. I might need my round brush for this. Let's see. I might need, if you were, there's my round brush. Let's see. Do I like it better using the round? Let's see. I think I like the round. I have a little bit more control. So the idea, I'm going to put some little, it's a leopard, right? It's a leopard. Is it not a leopard? A cheetah. Is it a cheetah? Which cat has, I can't remember. Which cat has the spots? Cheetah, I think, right? Is it cheetah? Help me. Here we go. I think it's not wet. So I want to do some little cheetah spots. So I'm going to go in with my black like this. And it's going to be like 2 half moons. 2 half moons, okay? So we're going to do 2 kind of half moons. Like almost like a what do you call that? Cashews. Like 2 cashews. Let's do 2 cashews. But what is the one that would have? I think it's a cheetah print, right? I think it's a cheetah print. Vicky. So let's just go in and just kind of cheetah print it. So kind of like, I'm going to turn my page too to get the other side of these because I'm having a hard time. Cheetah print. And you can find a visual reference. I don't actually even have one. I'm just kind of faking it. Hopefully I'm doing it right. What do you think? Do they look very cheetah printish? Do I have anything in my references that looks like a cheetah print? We'll figure it out. I won't make them all perfect. okay? I won't make them all perfect. Maybe some little lumpies in there. Just do the things. Hi, Irene. You had a successful night at bingo on Wednesday? I think I saw you post, right? That you won $100 or something? That's always nice. It's always nice to win at bingo. My dad's always like, I am not going because I don't win. I'm like, I would figure most people don't win, right? You don't win every time you go to bingo. I have post-traumatic stress from bingo when I played the wrong card and I almost started a riot in the bingo hall. So it is not my favorite thing to do. Bingo is not Vicky's favoriteest thing. I do not have good experiences with bingo. Okay. Oh, this is like Vicky's Barbie dream come true here. Is it a cheetah? Did we decide, or a leopard? Freaking Vicky doesn't know her jungle animals. Who does not have faith that this is going to look nice? Are you like, oh, I would never do this? And you don't have to, right? That's the magic of this whole series, is do the things that appeal to you. Well, I would like if you try, I don't mean the cheetah print, but try the techniques. I really feel like there's value in that. If you were in one of my classes, that's what I'm always like, is just, well, try it because you're here anyway. You might as well give it a try. And sometimes you won't know if you like it unless you try it. So I'm putting my first layer on, and then to get the opacity, I'll come back in. It's making you nervous. I love it, Carissa. I live for making you nervous. So I'm just going to do kind of, right? Top, bottom, just little. We'll go down, do a couple little ones in here too. Boop, boop. Boop, 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 a choop. Almost. We're almost there. I'm going to turn my page around though so I can get a different direction on my brush. And then we're going to go in with yellow. But remember what I was saying? I think I might go in with white first and then come back and put the yellow on top. So I switched this around so I could get clean up the little ends of my brush that what's awesome, Beth? FYI, I just found that the Tim Holt's alcohol ink felt applicator is great for applying acrylic through a stencil. I love that. I love that. You'll have to show us what results that you got, because I'm curious to see. Let's do it. Let's do it, do it, do it. Now, I should have started at the top and worked, because this, what I'm showing you, is not at all what I would tell you to do, because I don't want you to put your hand in wet paint, okay? Riley went to play hockey tonight. It was funny. I said, who are you playing with? He goes, no one you know. And then he goes, one guy I used to play with and one guy from high school. And I said, oh, who's the guy? And he told me the name. I'm like, I know him. He goes, oh, well, you knew one guy. I'm like, yes, I did. So next time when I ask you who you're playing with, just tell me who you're playing with. Right? Don't have to hold it so close to the cuff. There. I feel like I can always come back and add more. But for, what do you say, so that we can get through to the next thing tonight? Because we're live. I can't fart around like I would normally do if I was playing on my own at 5 o'clock in the morning, because the cat woke me up. Okay, step away. Clean the brush. Are you done for tonight, Karen? I know that Karen takes care of all the babies during the week, so she gets a little sleepy. I love that, Nicole. Well, it's Barbie animal print, right? So let's, I'm just trying to get that kind of onion layer on top of the acrylic so we can do our next. Because I'm going to put a little bit of white. We could go in though, couldn't we? Let's go with paint marker. Then I don't even have to get a brush wet. And then when the paint marker dries, I can put my yellow on top. So I hope they're dry enough, but let's go in. Does it look like animal print at all? Or does it look like Vicky's making stuff up? I don't know. You know I love hot pink, and you know I love Barbie. So I thought a little Barbie animal print would be fun. So if we go in with the Posca pen, instead of the acrylic, it will dry faster, and then I can deposit my yellow on top. What do you think? Does it look like animal print? Jungle Barbie. Hello, Robin. Okay. And now I'm going to freak Carissa out when I throw the yellow on here. Is that who told me they were freaked out about the yellow? It looks more like a prince. That's okay. A cow came to or a horse came to your party. I need to fix this one. It just looks like a blob. So let's just change the shape of that one. I don't know. It's an interpretation. It was Carmen. It was Carmen. Okay, let's throw the yellow on here, Carmen. You could leave the white, though. The white's very pretty, right? The white's pretty. I love yellow, orange, hot pink. If you have not bought like a fluorescent acrylic, I love fluorescent and everything. I love the fluorescence. I'm going to go in. Where did I put my yellow? Oh, it's right in front of me. Dum-dum. So do you have to make this yellow? Absolutely not. Am I going to make it yellow? Yes, I am. So let's pick up the yellow. Now this might require a few coats because, oh my goodness, I love that so much. I can't even tell you. What do you think, Carmen? I love it so much. But do you see what I'm saying? Adding the white makes me have a very vibrant pigment. So whatever color you're putting in there, because you could do orange. Orange would be freaking awesome on here. But if I would have went in directly on the acrylic, I don't think my yellow would pop. I love it. I love it so much. Hello, Robin. How are you? You just got Liquitex paints the other day, and I can't wait to play with them this weekend. Yeah, I love that. Thank you, my friend. So when we were talking earlier, a couple of you are going to be at Scrap Fest, right? Do you guys have any questions? So yes, just so you know, and I hope that people don't get sad, that with a description of the layout class, it said that I was going to be using cut and paste. But like I said, I am not 100% sure what's happening with that yet. So the product just wouldn't have arrived in time. So we are going to be using my new collection, part of my new collection from 49 and Market, and an existing product from 49 and Market, Katie Petite, the charcoal. So with those, the color, I forget what the name of that is. I don't know if Janine's still here. She's an early to bedder too. Oh my goodness, the yellow on top of that pink gives you like a fluorescent orange too. That brings me joy. Totally brings me joy. What do you guys think? I think my animal print is a little jank, but you know, whatever. That's the whole purpose of this whole series, is just do the things. Make sure you clean your acrylic too off of your makeup sponge so you don't have to go and buy tons of new makeup sponges. Do you like this? Sarah, I could totally see you doing something like this. Right? I love it. That makes me really happy. Look it, there's 2 done. I'm not art marking or anything on either one of these. I just love them in their original state. So I'm just giving my tape a little heat. Little heat on that yellow. But by putting the white on, I did not require a lot of paint, because that white layer gave me a true yellow. So I love that. So right, hold your tape close to so you don't tear. Sometimes I tear anyway, but the heating trick, whoever told me that, brilliant. Brilliant. I love it. So we have, does it matter, top and bottom? Oop, this was my, right? Boop and boop. I love it. This could totally be a background for a scrapbook layout. It could be for a card. Let's wipe our paint off and start with the next one. Kari's going to bed. Do you have something going on? We have cookie delivery tomorrow for the Girl Scouts. I always get it. Girl Guides is Canada. Girl Scouts. Is that it? Girl Scouts? Good luck. And is Hannah helping you? Emma. It's Emma who's doing the cookies, right? Emma. I'm sorry. I'm old. Takes me a while sometimes. Have a great time, friend. Okay. What's next? Sorry if that made you deaf. Oh, this one, the pull with the fluorescent pink. Yes, Emma's helping. Okay. Fluorescent pink. I am just pulling. I'm just going to do a pull with it to show you with the layers. So another sheet of foundations. We are going to use the art wedge, and I'm just going to do in pink, fluorescent pink. I'm just going to go boop, boop, boop. And now that I saw what happened, and we're going to do a layer of yellow on top of this, because I think with the fluorescent that you want your paint as close to the edge. When you put it down, it needs to come into contact, so you might have to play a little with this, okay? So I'm holding it and just going to do it so I can move my page around. And I'm going to just do oh yes, load again. In a perfect world, I'd love to have done that in one shot, but let's do it in this direction too. Wipe that up so you don't get it on the back of your page too, okay? Kind of clean, because we're using front and back. So I think you need a little bit more paint. Love it. Okay. Let's see now what happens. Let's try with the palette knife. Let's see what I get when I pull. Oh. And I know this pink is not for everybody, but I love my fluorescence. It makes my eyes vibrate, and I love that. Okay. So now my whole thing too, right, is figuring out what I could use that I could pull a cleaner line. Because I think you might need way more paint. Let's try that, okay? I will try it for you. I'm going to put it right on my palette knife. I feel like you need a lot of paint because I'm running out of paint. So I'm going to put that right on the edge, and let's see. Yep. So you need to go a little heavier with the paint. Oh, I love it. I'm going to do one more pink, and then I'm going to do yellow. Ooh. Vicky is making a mess because that is dirty. Okay, so I think from this direction. Excuse me. Lots of paint. Pull towards you too, and we're going to come like this. Okay. I am going to pull some yellow. I don't even care if it's dry. Clean up. And like I said, you guys might not everything that we do is going to be your favorite, right? There's a question. Would your bright paints work for this? Yes. You might have to add a little water because they're very thick, right? Yes. The texture paints or the paint? Paint or the texture paints? Yes. They most certainly should. They are probably not as opaque as this one, but yes, they should work. Okay, I'm going with the yellow. So this is one of those things as I play. I'm going to find the proper thing that's going to make my paint application a little smoother. So I want to put yellow on top because I think where the yellow and the pink intersect, I'm going to get like a vibrant orange. So I'm going to put it right on the palette knife again. Okay. So do you see what side I put it on? The wrong side, so I have to pull away from me. Don't do that. Don't do what Vicky just did. Right? It's on the wrong side. I can't pull that. I have to pull it away. Unless you're a lefty, that would work for you. So I'm just going to do the things. Oh, yeah, look at the orange. I love it. Okay. And I'm going to do one like this.
Are you live, Mama?
I'm live, right?
Hi.
How was hockey?
Played against Rosie, Barkley, Hayner, and Laux, and then
You haven't seen them in like forever, right? That's fun. So he played with a whole bunch of kids when he played travel hockey. But what's crazy is, and you're going to laugh at me because Riley just had a birthday and I think he just turned 24. 24. Right? He was born in 2001. He's 24, right? So that's crazy when he sees these kids that we haven't seen in forever. There's a question. What other neon colors would go well with this palette you chose? Orange. Because think of all the neons that you could use. You could use lime green. You could use orange. You could do like I find that the most vibrant in the neons I think are pink and orange and the yellow, but yellow almost hurts your eyes, right? So I want to. I did get paint on the back, so we'll have to just incorporate that in there. It's pretty thick, but I'm gonna totally go in here with black art marks. So this is one of those ones I'll do when it's completely dry, but I will share. I'm going to go in with very fine lines, and Connie, it's going to be in the white space. It's going to be in the white space because I want to show you that for some of you who are looking at this and going, oh my goodness, I absolutely hate this. Could you brayer this? You most certainly could. No, the brayer wouldn't do what I want to do. I want to pull the paint, right? I don't want to roll it on. I really want the pull. But I feel like you just need a lot of paint. A lot of paint, but it's not. I think a squeegee is what I need, to be honest with you. I feel like you need a bigger surface and squeegee this. Yes, I have some New Amsterdam neons. Yeah, I have. It's one of my favorite paints are the New Amsterdam. So I'm only drying this a bit so I can work eventually on the other side. But to give you an idea, I'm going to come in here with my fine micron and I am going to draw black lines. Like I'm going to do very fine lines with the black. So for now, I'm going to leave it. But just know that I'm going to come in here. Hello, how are you, Hip Kit Club? I'm going to come in there. So look at what have we done so far? We did this one, which I absolutely love. And for some of you guys, this is in your wheelhouse. You like that it was distress ink, stencil. You're like, I could do this and I could get exactly the same effect. You could. I feel like distress ink, really, you can master this one. This one, love that. I love pulling in the white to bring the base back up to the top. I love my animal print. I love this one too. I love this one. So now we've done half. We have done half. So this one, when it's completely dry, which I don't think it is. I would like to show you the black marking, but I'm nervous that if it's not dry, I'm going to gum up my pen. So, but yes, I want to go in with very fine black lines. So can I, here, I'm going to use my micron, I think. I could also use my Uniball Air. But watch how cool the black will be. So I'm going to come in, look at, and do, ooh, is it working? Yep. Very tight, tight, tight black lines. And I feel like doing this top layer will add interest to this page. Do they have to be straight? No, mine aren't straight. They're bajiggity, right? They're bajiggity. I feel if you go a little bit slower, you can get a little bit straighter line. But just try to keep them as close as possible. I'll make this side a little bit more bajiggity because the other side, when I'm pulling pretty far away from me, is a little bit more bajiggity. Look at, oh, it makes your eyes completely vibrate. I love it. Please don't forget to clean the paint off your blue tool. Which one? Which blue tool? Oh, this one. The art wedge. I have 50 of these, so this one doesn't scare me as much, but yes, I will do it. So if you can't get your acrylic off, this will be stained for sure with this one too. Thank you. It's going to need a little bit more of a scrub. I left it too long, but thank you. Look at you guys taking care of me. There we go. Perfect. Thanks for the reminder. Okay. Right, so I really should have my readers on too because I can't see this. And the other thing is that these colors really make my eyes vibrate. It's almost a little bit painful, right? This is a relaxing part for me. I love it. So I think just for consistency's sake, I'm just going to keep the lines, right? Painfully good, yep. So I'm going to go down in this corner as well and just continue that. And I might add more, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what I'm going to do here. Okay. So biggest takeaways from all of this is just do the things. It's a piece of paper in your time. Try colors that you never would mix together. Don't put the whole rainbow on everything. Sometimes it's okay to just like, look at, we have what, 2 colors here, but we got a third from when the yellow went over the pink. And I love the look of the neon orange that we got out of there. And the black on top. Woo! Magic. So I can come back and finish, but it gives you an idea, right? I'll probably do more of those black lines. I'm going to dry it a little bit. So what else is on our list, friends? It's okay to be nervous. I think that's the best part. And I think the reward is so much sweeter, Carissa, when you do the things that you didn't think you could do. A compass would work. You totally could, right? I love that, Irene. You could put a compass and do your circles just changing your compass. I think that's a freaking awesome idea. Just make sure you start at your widest to smallest so you aren't dragging anything over top. So we have the watercolor float. Want to do the watercolor float? What do I have left? Or want to do the drag? Yeah, let's do the drag one first. I'm going to do it on the back. I'm going to do another drag on here. So my holes can punch here or here. I'm going to leave, that's going to be the top of my page. And what do I want it to sit beside? I think this. I like these two together. So I'm going to do another drag, but this is going to be very abstract, right? My husband just came in my craft room and looked at my animal print and he said, never play poker in the jungle. Too many cheetahs. I love it. Okay, so this one is we're gonna go all kind of crazy again. So this one I'm going to do fluorescent pink, which is perfect because it went on the back of my page. Fluorescent pink, teal, and I was gonna do yellow, but maybe I shouldn't do yellow. Fluorescent pink and teal for sure. Let's start with that and then we'll decide. So I want to do just kind of some swoops like this. We're going to get loose. Now it's time to get loose. You ready? Who's going to get loose with me? I'm going to put it right on the art wedge. I'm going to put it on the wedge. Should I do it on, or here. Remember, I haven't used this yet, so let me show you this guy. So I'm going to put it right on the silicone wedge. And we're going to, I want to pick up where I already made a mess with my pink. So I want to do kind of like drags. Now I got to work because that's a lot of paint. This one is going to freak, I think, some of you out, but it's okay. Can I tell you something too? Sometimes with this technique works better with the fluid acrylics more than traditional what are these? Acrylics. Because they have a little bit more open time and some more transparency. But whatever. Like I said, some of the stuff I will like, some of it I won't, and I just won't do it again. We already know that how I feel a little bit about the acrylics are not probably my favoriteest medium to work with. So this is loose. You don't have to really do any kind of pattern. Just pull it on, leave some white space. This is very springy, so it's kind of hard to control, okay? You might need something that has a little bit more. Just going with it. This looks like a whale. Clean that off. He's coming with you to Kitchener. I love it. He can go, I think the market should be on, right? The Kitchener market, maybe? I don't know, that time of year. I'm hoping. See, I'm going to do something because I can. I want to see if I add some water, will that give me any more dragging? Can I smooth any of that out? Let's see. Might be too late. Pulling it right off. Ooh, I love that. Look at that. Okay. Pick that up because we don't want that to go on the back side of the page. Acrylic is messy. It just is. It's a messier medium. So I'm going to do something. when I pull the next one. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to mist my paper and see if my paint pulls a little easier. It's open all year, so that's great. So Connie, he can go to the St. Jacobs Market when you're in class. And I think he would love that. If he is so inclined. Okay, so what do I want to do next? I'm just going to pull some teal like that. So we decided we're going to mist and see what happens, right? You'd like to see with a fluid acrylic, yeah. I just think it would pull better, so let's kind of fake fluid acrylic by wetting our page down. And this one I'm going to pull with my palette knife. So it's going to bleed though. This is going to make it bleed into the page too. So this, look for my teal. I put it on the right side of my palette knife this time. So let's see now what happens. Oh, look at that. I love that. It's messy, but look it. It's fabulous. So I could build this one. Now watch though that you don't pill your paper because it's wet. I love that. And leave it alone. I'm going to try to cheat with some heat gun. You're in a very small area there, Connie. He would be fine and say it's worth going. We'll see if that bled through to the other side of the paper, but I don't think it did. So I want to dry this, and I'm going to put another layer on top once I take some of that moisture out. I have no patience. It's from 7 to 3:30 on Saturday. It is definitely one of those things you'd want to see there. And it's not hard. Like seriously, it's pretty country. So I'm just picking up some of that. And then let's see if we can layer another drag. Oh, I love it. And I'm going to leave it. Like I said, acrylic on paper especially, and not a canvas, is not necessarily my favorite. Those are the things I'm learning with playing here, that I much prefer watercolor to the acrylic paint. But I do think with fluid acrylic, I can show you. Remember, I'm not supposed to be adding different things, but let me show you on a piece of scrap what the difference with fluid acrylic. And then we have to let that just dry a bit. I just don't want it super tacky, but I have to let that dry. Because now, this is almost like my zombie parrot eye. I don't love it. So we'll see what I can do to fix this. Because I want it to be smoother. That is my goal. So let me grab a fluid acrylic. So fluid acrylic is more, it's fluid. It's not as thick. We'll do it on here. Let's pull with fluid acrylic. It pulls much easier, yes, because it's not as thick, right? So with the fluid acrylic, watch when you pull this out. So shake it up. And we could put some right on the, see how wet that is? But watch what will happen with this. It pulls much easier and you get a better effect with the fluid acrylic, right? So you're just learning that different mediums, this is what we're talking about, do different things, right? So the fluid acrylic is more transparent and it pulls much easier. So I kept it at least in our color family, but yep, so things you learn. If you're not like, that's way messier than what I would normally do. So how do we recover from that? Remember how we've done in the past. What is Vicky's favorite thing to do when she doesn't like? We can pull in the white. So let's try to recover from this one because it's not in the direction exactly the same. So I am going to pull some white. Cover it with white, right? I wonder if distressed paint would, you could try it. You could try it because it is definitely more fluid. So let's just dry that a little bit because there's just some wet spots there. Okay, what stencil are we going to go with now? Look it, I'm going to do something super subtle like that. So I'm going to pull some white across the page, but with polka dots. Hi, Marnie. How are you? I feel like that's going to make me happy. Where are you, white paint? Mine is Foundations paper. But it's already has art on the back of it. That's why it's buckled. Because we already did that, right? So let's go in with some white. I'm going to tack this down so it doesn't move on me. I just feel like this will soften up the effect. And it gives me a layer I can art mark on top of too. Who's playing along with me tonight? Who is planning on at some point this weekend? Because I know we had some friends from Australia here earlier, right? Because is it in the morning for you guys? Let's see. See? I love it. I love that. Look at Just quiets down the background a little bit, right? I didn't want to go in with a crazy wild pattern, but I'm going to do it over here too, on this pink. So this is kind of the magic, I think, with acrylic paint, is that you can go in with white and just kind of soften the effect. Especially like maybe where the edges were a little wild. You can get in there. And it gives you a new opportunity. Now I could go on with another color. Like I could put yellow on top because, you know, I love the crazies. We could put black. Black could have been cool. We could have went through here with black, but I could, watch, I'll show you something. That one of my stencils is art marks. For mark making. And I love that. I love it. So I'll show you. Give that a quick wipe because I am of the school of cleaning up my stuff, right? How are you, Libby? Sweet friend. I just hope lots of people come and play. Like, even if you find this, maybe you're watching and it's like a year later. You are in the future. I find this very relaxing. And even though I am a card maker, scrapbooker, mixed media artist, there are no rules to my creativity, right? I'll just do the thing. So let me show you, because you can still kind of get that soft effect. I'm getting crazy. I think there's wet paint on that. There's a lot of hot pink going on tonight. Vicky is channeling her pink. Now, this stencil from the OG Vicky Booten ones, the first one, look at, has a bunch of art marks on here. So look, one that almost looks like your animal print. But I could go in with the X's. That'd be kind of fun. Let's do that with black. And I'll put them right here. Tape. Tape for the win. You're exhausted. That happens, right? Busy week. So let's do our pounce. So what's nice too with the black in acrylic is we'll get a very nice opaque finish, and it will dry matte, which I'm kind of a fan of. I don't really like gloss in my photos, in my art stuff. I am certainly not like a high gloss, the shiny stuff. I like it a little bit more the matte side. And I feel like doing it with the acrylic, you get, it's kind of airbrushed. Look at that. Fun. So I'm going to come in with some fine lines as well. Let me dry my mess up here. I love it. Lisa's having a sangria night. So she said she's not sure if it's a sangria talking. I love that. But I'll come back. This one is a work in progress. I'm going to play some more on here. What other color did I want on this page? I wanted some yellow on here too. But look at, here's another way I could add color with my art marking. So I've done, I think I'm going to do some lines again. So if I go in with my paint pen, okay. Let's just fill, Connie, I'm going to use my white space. So these pens are a little thick, but that's fun. You could go in with your turquoise, but with a paint pen. And we could do like we did on the other one, right? I love it. I love it. And then I'll just let it dry because I'll come back. I'll probably add a little bit more. But for now, and if you go and you heat set the paint pen, it will make it glossy. You just dry, you make it dry too fast. What did Natalie say? It's like Cinderella before the godmother works her magic. I love it. I'm watching, but I love tonight's ideas and can't wait to try these. I love it, Marlene. Okay, let's clean that off. So what do we have left? For sure tonight, because it's 10:19, I'm going to do one more. We're going to get on the watercolor paper. Because we got lots done tonight, right? Like, look, how fun are these? Look at all that art making. So I want to do the watercolor one. This one is a fast one. It's the fast one. So let's clean up. I'm very messy because, right, acrylic, boop, messy crap. It's messy crap. And then let's take our dry wipe. There we go. Because we haven't watercolored tonight, have we? So I'm going to do 2 watercolor. So what colors do I want to do on here? We've done a lot of bright. But I want to float paint. So I'm going to do wet on this one, okay? So I'm going to paint some water, just some water on my background. And then I'm going to take the paint with my art wedge and just kind of do lines of it and see how it floats into the water. Okay, let's try it. So you need something that's going to deposit a lot of water. Oh, I should probably get my paint ready. Probably makes sense. I'm going to, how about orange? I'm going to use some orange. I'm going to use some blue, and I have lost one of my watercolors. There should be one more, right? There should be one more, and it is missing. Do you see it on here and I'm just not seeing it? Oh, there it is. I found it. Found it. So what do we think? Orange. I'm We'll put the blues out. We haven't done a lot in the darker. Is it just me, or does anyone else get more paint on them when they clean up? It's true. That's why I do as much cleanup with dry as opposed to wet. Some teal. I can't wait to see what you make, Annie. I think this is fun. That's what it's all about, right? And orange. Let's do orange. And if we can muddy it up a little bit, we can. We can earthy this up a little bit. So these are watercolor paints. They're not acrylics, they're watercolor. When I add water to them, they're going to get very translucent. And it's very much about water control and pigment with these, okay? So let's float some water on this page. You want it to be fairly wet. And we are going to drag some pigment across with, you could use your art wedge, you could use your palette knife. What did I decide? Art wedge. And I'm going to go in with some of the orange cadmium. And we are going to just float that like this. How fun is that, friends? So you can drag it up a little bit. So it's floating and wicking in that wet. Let's put a little turquoise on there. Credit card will work, 100%. Credit card or a what am I trying to say? A gift card. If you have an old Starbucks gift card, that'll work. Okay, I'm going in with the turquoise. Let it sit on there, drag the lines. It's not as wet. Oh, I am loving this. I am going to dirty up some orange and turquoise to get a kind of earthy color. Because remember, this Prussian blue is not as dark as I would like. So what can we get? Earthy that up a little bit. Okay, let's throw some of that on. And I'm going to layer some of that in. Oh, I love it. So that page is wet, right? I haven't added more water, so it's not as wet as it was. So we could put a little bit more water down. And look at it, almost looks like the sea and the sunset, right? I do lines like this when I'm doing my trees. Back in the day when I did more watercolor painting. But that looks like clouds too, doesn't it? Maybe we'll make this whole page almost look like clouds and a sunrise or sunset. So there's more water up here. Look at that. And let's go in with the turquoise a bit. So I'm going to do something about that water. It's a little wet. So let's just wick some of that water off. So I just touched the paper towel in here because that's just going to soak up some of that pooling water because now the paper's buckling. Look at that. Could you imagine if that was yellow? It went up like this, like sunbeams. That was very fun. It kind of stopped over here though because the paper's dry. Very fun. I'll do a little bit more yellow in that. I know it's hard, right? When we have babies that want your time, but you want to do some creating. I understand that. When my 24-year-old and 21-year-old were little, I set up my craft room, my space in their playroom. So, like in the basement where their playroom was, just so I could be with them, but be making. And very thankful for that. Oh, look at, don't really want that to leak. So we're going to wick. Let's control that a little bit, okay? Let's control that wick. I'm going to take that pigment out a little bit because my water is snaking where I don't want it to. And I'm really liking this effect. So we're going to stop it there. Oh, you know what? And this is one of those ones, Connie, where I'll put a little bit more of the orange and I'm going to stop because I really love the way this looks. I love the way this looks. So I don't want to mess with it, but I want a lot of pigment right there. And I'm going to do some of that dirty blue. Attached to the playroom, right? So they were right there playing. I could pause, play with them, but then I could go back to making my pages. Yeah, I'll have to find the pictures. So, you know the book, what's the one with the bunnies? Is it How Much I Love You or I Love You This Much or whatever is the bunny book with the big bunny and the baby bunny? I painted a scene from that book all over their playroom. So the rabbits, the trees, I love the illustrations in that book. So in our playroom, I mural painted. Not Love You to the Moon and Back. It's the rabbit one, and it's something about how much I love you. Yeah, I painted that mural. I love the book. We had the stuffed animals and oh, I love that color. So drag it a little too to force that pigment to go where you want it to. I love it. I think maybe Guess How Much I Love You. But they were hares. They were not like rabbits. They were hares. I love this so much. Look at that, friends. Can you see that? How fun is this? I love it. Yeah, I think it is with little nut brown hair. I think that's the book. I love this. I don't feel like it needs art marking or anything. I'm cheating because I would like, let's try it one more time on the back. I really feel like this is one I want to do twice. And I think I'm going to do the whole thing just in blue. They look like clouds. That was fun. That was a nice way to anyone doing this with me? You know I don't normally heat gun my watercolor because I like it to just do its thing. But we're going to do one more. Look at the color I got by mixing the orange in with the Prussian blue. This is on a 25% cotton watercolor paper, Abby. Libby. I just made that up, Abby. You can. Raquel, you 100% can. Does the paper matter? Yes. Let's try on the inexpensive watercolor. So the one I had talked to you guys, let's try it quickly on that. I'm going to do it quick on that one, and then I'm done for reals. So I have the expensive watercolor, and this one is the one that we bought from Michael's. So let's see if on a student grade synthetic watercolor paper, let's see if we can get the same results. You ready? Let's do it. So we're going to float the water. So this is, I think, the Canson one. There is no cotton in this paper, okay? So I floated the water. Let's try it. Let's see if we get the same effect. Okay, going in with my turquoise. It's working, but you're going to see the difference in the paper. You don't have the texture in the paper. It doesn't hold the water the same. So these are the things that I like for you guys to see is why, even if you're new and you're doing this for the same, for the first time, and maybe you're not investing a lot in your tools or your paper, do you see the difference in a less expensive watercolor paper? Look at this, has way more texture and it held the pigment. This doesn't absorb the paint as fast. That's the difference. The cotton sucks the pigment in and keeps the paint where you want it. So if you're doing this, this is great. This is great. It will not work like that on your foundations paper, Raquel. Because the foundations paper, the magic with that, it's like a hot press. It's smooth and kind of like an ice rink. So it doesn't suck the product up as fast. That's why it's great for distress ink. It's great for a longer open time. When you use, look at the difference it makes. It makes a huge difference. I'll show you the pad I have, okay? But it is the paper with, and you don't have to buy 100% cotton. Like some watercolor paper is incredibly expensive. So let's see this technique with where the paper is a little drier. So I think you could get better results. Just don't put as much. Now it's dried a little bit up top. So let's see. So see, that helps a little bit. Don't put as much water on the inexpensive watercolor paper. I'm still getting a pretty result. It's just, this paper is just not the same. Although, is this watercolor? This might have been the, not the watercolor paper. Let me look. I might have cheated you guys. That might be, yeah, that's not watercolor paper. That's the mixed media paper. Let's try. This is the watercolor paper, the one we bought, the Canson. See, it's heavier. Let's try it. I could have just freaked you out, and it's because I'm not using watercolor paper. Let's try it. That buckled a lot. I think it's because it wasn't watercolor. So I could have just been a liar. It would be like if I was on the infomercial, and then I cheated when I said I was using something, but I wasn't using it. So let's see. So this is watercolor paper. Oh, look. Better. Better. Okay, friends? So you should get decent results. Look at it. It doesn't soak in as fast, but that's what I did. I wasn't using the watercolor. I was using the mixed media paper. I feel better about that now though, because I was like, wow, that really sucks. Okay, and now we're making that kind of dirty. Look at that nice green that makes. When you put that orange in with the Prussian blue, you can make a nice olive green. But if I want that gray blue, I'm going to put more of the Prussian, and now I make almost a black blue. I love it. So it's still, you're not getting the same result, but it's better. It's better. Ooh, look at that. And then I will show you the paper that I bought. Because you see, I was trying to use something I could just get at Michael's, but I was not getting the results I wanted. So I'm like, I'm going to go with more expensive watercolor paper because it makes a difference. It's one of those things, you know, with some things you'd say, does it matter? And I'd say, no, it doesn't matter. You'll still be okay. Your paper, your paints, the quality of your brushes can really affect the results that you get. So here's another fun thing, right? When we float the water and then just put a couple of drops of paint in there too. That can be fun. And then put somewhere there is no water too. It's nice. So you'll see the difference with the watercolor paper that has some cotton in it. You will get more wicking. Like the paint just reacts differently. Let's put some of the orange on here. Oops, I didn't mean to clean my brush and my clean side, but I did it. I did it by accident. I'm going to leave this one because I'm going to do art marking on this page. But the paper makes a difference, friends. If you're loving watercolor painting, and you want better results, it's worth investing in a better quality paper. I don't like that. Let's soften that out. And I'll do one more line in here with the dark. So we got lots done tonight. There's lots of homework, things that you can work on this weekend if you have some free time to get your art on. I think it's important that you make time for your creativity because life gets in the way often of our creative pursuits. And I feel like when Libby said she's exhausted, right? Which happens because life can get in the way, lots of things going on, that this is something you could take 15 minutes and just do one of these, and it might get your blood pressure down, relax you a little bit, and there's value in that, right? There's value in that. So let me grab the pad that I'm using. So yes, you can see, you want to see the difference? So I use all the same colors, same technique. And this is the different results I get. See where, look at the wicking. Look at the intensity of color on here. Because the paper is cotton, so it absorbs it, right? So, and I didn't even, you can get arches, Audrey, but it is a higher cotton content and it's expensive. So I only am going to use that when after I've mastered a technique and maybe I want to do something finished. Let me show you the one I found that is not as expensive, but great results. I should be doing links and all the rest of it because that's how I'm supposed to get paid to do this kind of stuff, is through my links. But Vicky one day will get herself together. But this is the one that I'm using. It's the Fabriano watercolor cold press 25% cotton, 140 pound, and I bought the 11 by 14, which means you can get some pages out of here, right? So love it. Studio watercolor. So it is more expensive, but it won't break the bank. And this pad has 12 sheets in it. And it does make a world of a difference, the texture on here. So that's the paper. And then, can I find the pad that we cut the original from? It's in the first video, right? When we were doing our prepping. But look, it doesn't buckle as much. It really is worth it. So to recap what we made tonight, which I am pretty happy with my results from everything we created tonight. This is what we started with. We brayered distress ink. I use both sides. One side Marlowe is way more textured and the other side's a little smoother. But yes, I use both sides. And I will put up some share sale links because one day I'll be organized enough to have that all together. The smart people on the YouTubes do those things. Vicky is in no way. I'm just doing too many things. It's too hard. So that was our distress ink. I love this one. This one was the dragon brayer, right? We did both. And then we did the animal print. I will finish this because then I can make it look a little bit more like I want it to look. And then this one. And then I freaking love this. Absolutely love it. So see the front. This is the front side, Marlo. The back is just a little bit smoother, but I use both sides. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was very fun. On Wednesday, we're going to be doing squares and rectangles, which is going to be good. We're going to do some fun exercises with that. So let me flip the camera around. Thank you, Natalie, as always, for being my partner in crime and helping with any questions that I've missed. And I'm going to turn around and look at you now, turn the camera around. And if you have any questions, let me know. Also, you see the mess that is my life all over this desk because I work on both sides of it, right? Messy side on this side for the art side, and the scrapbooking is going on the other side. Boop. Hi. Didn't even shove you up my nose with the camera, right? Oh my goodness, that was so much fun. So let's see when it's on a different angle. Look at that one. How pretty is that? Love that. This one, I'm loving a little bit better than I did, but I will add to it. Love the vibrancy of this, but I'm going to add some more to that. One of my favorites. I love this one and absolutely love this because I love distress ink. You just can't go wrong. Distress to me is one of the easiest. It just is an awesome medium, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 done. I didn't get the 6, but it was just going to be little art marking kind of thing with the drag technique. But hopefully Your takeaway from this, or the little golden nuggets, are or is that you can break a page and cover a lot of the area very quickly using your art tools like a brayer, the dragging technique. I don't know what your favorite was, but it's not as intimidating as a little paintbrush. So I often, it's the same when we do the kissing technique with distress ink to make watercolor. Uh, I find that you can get great results and it isn't as laborious or as detailed as using a paintbrush. So that was fun. I really hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget, if you haven't already, thumbs up the video and leave a comment in the regular comment section if you have any questions. If you're watching in Tomorrowland, in Future World, I'd still love to hear from you, and I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to share whatever you're making on the Vicky Booten creative page on Facebook. So I've been loving that and trying to comment on all of your art. But holy crap, you guys are doing a fabulous job. I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you on Wednesday for the next. We have, I think, 2 more left because then I'm away for most of April. So 2 more left. I can't wait to see what you make. Have a wonderful weekend, guys, and we'll see you later. Bye, guys.